Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show in which we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. It's hot right now. It's like 3 in the afternoon, and it's like 90 degrees. Let me check my magical phone, because my phone tells me the temperature outside. Because who wants to step outside when you have a magical internet connected device that will do it for you? It's 88 degrees, so I was pretty close, okay? Off by 2 degrees. That's pretty good for a magical human thermostat. It's a little bit muggy. I got the phone, not the phone off. Well, I should get the phone off because I had it interrupt me a couple times. I got the fan off. So the only background fan you hear is that of my computer whirling as fast as it can to keep my CPU cool. Today's show, we're going to do something interesting. We're going to break down some of the teams that we saw at Origins, and we're going to pretty much say why this is good and why this is bad. Now, I want everyone to know this. You show up to Origins and play. I'm not saying like, yo dog, you a noobs, you played blah 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 and you suck. That's not what this is about, okay? Because that's taking unfair pot shots at people. What I'm more along the lines I'm looking at is, what are we really solving for? And what are people thinking about doing? And also, how are people solving for Justice League? Now, for me personally, I feel this, and I've said it on the blog, and I've said it in, I think, previous podcasts. I think the Justice League team base is the perfect sell to reference Dragon Ball Z. There is very little that you can do against it, and once it's seen what you can do, if the Justice League player, is like the Scarecrow and only had a brain, you can't do that again. Even with a couple of friends of mine, we sat down and talked, and we said, like, all right, how do we use the Justice League to kill most of these teams? And it just comes down to, take this character off first turn, and it solves everything. So that to me is quite interesting, for there to be answers like that available. Another thing that is also quite apparent is Villains for Hire. Everyone recognizes that Villains for Hire is strong. Now, where I'm concerned at is Origin usually does something interesting to Gen Con. Origin is like the birthing place of ideas, and it's also where a lot of people want to start splicing and doing genetic engineering on a live baby. That's the of lack of a better analogy or small term. You will see mutated versions of the baby that you saw at Origin show up at Gen Con with its full laser beam eyes, 8 arms, and the ability to climb on walls and call itself, the laser spider. Okay, and sometimes you get a direct clone of a team that was at Origin. And so I find that quite interesting. The best example of it was Metron, Kid Zoom, and some objects and stuff. I think it's like the Crimson Gem. And then before that, it was like Metron and Thing. Yeah, Metron Thing for a long time. I do find interesting is no one's really, ever tried to copy a world champion team like the next year. Like, I find that interesting. But anyway, going on while I digress into this weird diatribe. So we're going to look at all that. But what concerns me right now is what game design has actually said in response to Team Dials, and with Villains for Hire rising to the top. And that is, man, free actions is the stuff. And free attacks are even better. And I think that's really, really, really bad game design. I don't think that that should be the solution that we should be moving toward, because what it does is it creates a major problem that now in a 300-point game, I'm expected to do 3 attacks. Okay, I have the it sets where the new bar is, and anyone that's played a 300-point game knows if you get 3 attacks off, that means that you had a swarm team and your damage is low. I shouldn't be able to get 3 12 attack, 5 damage, shots off in a turn at 300 points. I just shouldn't. Okay, that's way imbalanced. So much so, I can't see how it's justified. So anyway, Heroes for Hire is now putting us in this point where even though you run out of this magical queue of actions, it still creates a situation where in one turn, one character can be like a Justice League team base. And if that's not scary to you at this point in time, trust me, I got some ideas to make it scary. And it's not all involving Ghost Rider either. And if you look at Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, the pure fact that I would be able at one point in time charge blade you and hit you with to hit you with charge blades as a free action should freak you out just a little bit, and then follow up and normal hit you. And oh yeah, I got like crazy attack damage going, so and there's some other Villains for Hire stuff that I have in the back of my head. I'm just not going to go into it right now. So anyway, going into Origin, looking at the Origin teams, just sort of saying like, hey, just because someone beat the Justice League doesn't mean that team bases don't need to be looked at. And just because Justice League got second place doesn't mean that it deserves a super nerf bat or that it's fine. So I do think team dials need to be fixed, but the problem with Justice League, the issues with Justice League in particular, is that their abilities that they get, not necessarily just the team dial mechanics, but just the abilities that they get, are way too crazy. Watchtower plus Superman plus Batman plus Justice League. Anyway, I digress. So let's get into it. One of the first teams mentioned here in this thread, and I am using the thread, so what did you play at the national championships? That's the thread I'm reading from. I'm not going to list like, oh, I did this and then I faced that and blah, blah, blah. We're just going to look at some teams. Okay, just some good, fun teamness. Oh, gosh, it's hot. Ugh, I might have to turn the fan on, people. Who knows? Okay, so we got Marvel Temp Storm with the belt, the cowl, smoke, cuffs, and grapple. I guess that's what he has. GSX Storm, Hellfire Guard, and Scotty's Warbot. So I assume the main goal is to try to keep the Storms alive by having Ghetto Mastermind. Now this is interesting, and this is a different take on, hey, you're going to kill our fodder before you kill us. And I give you a hand clap, person who made that team. The problem comes in, I think, does that Storm start with Psychic Blast? I don't know. I think when he says Marvel 10th Storm, I think he is talking about the vet promoted version. I don't think that he's talking about the 45-point version. Because if so, I think he would be under points. I think he would definitely be really under points. Yeah, you start with Psychic Blast. So I see that his hope and a prayer is that you can use some X-Men TA, probably heal back up to keep on Psychic Blast or Pulse Wave. Get that leadership going, I assume, to some level of benefit. I hope. Yeah, because you could get that leadership on the GSX Storm so that she can, keep fighting. But overall, it's a Hellfire Club theme. I think it would have to be. Yes, it's Hellfire Club theme, and I think that's an interesting start for us looking at these teams. Running shot, 2 targets, 7 range for the Marvel 10 Storm, which is a bit frustrating because it's not going to be really easy for you to get first strike on the Justice League. You're going to be doing a retaliation shot. So, not a bad team overall. Something worth thinking about. All right. So, enter the fan. I moved it back a bit. But it is real hot. Okay, so, again, the Storm team overall, I feel that for your average play, that it is an okay team. The Scotty Warbot, I think everyone's going to be turning to that as a, hey man, I got this nice cool attacker here that has a chance of surviving. My main opinion of Scotty's Warbot is it's something that's cool, but it's not something that I feel that is always going to be this you fell for the feint, Scotty Warbot haymaker, and that's really what it is. It's a haymaker, because any player that lets that Warbot stay alive, 2 or 3 turns is dumb. After knowing what it does with running shot, psychic blast, super senses, and like 3 damage. So overall, good team. We already know Justice League was there, so I'm just going to push that to the side. That was the second place team. Next up is Ghost Rider team. Ghost Rider, I guess it was Suit of Sorrows on the Ghost Rider. So Ghost Rider would have Battle Fury. I find that quite interesting. But I guess their whole goal was to just KO that sucker as soon as possible, and pick up a heavy. Grapnel with 2 grapnels in the Heroes for Hire ATA. And I apologize if I said Villains for Hire. I guess I still have some of that in my head. Then Brother Voodoo. No, this isn't the Champs team. This is somebody else's team. Brother Voodoo with the ATA, Scarlet Witch. So this team, I feel, with having Ghost Rider on there, is a very, very aggressive team. It says 1 free action isn't enough to come in and get you. I need to come at you again and again and again. And if I fail last turn, I'm going to do it again. One cool thing is you could use Brother Voodoo to move up using the free action from Heroes from Hire. Move up again as a normal action. Attempt to mind control the Justice League or whoever else. In the Justice League case, you can mind control them and then use working together and have them get really, really, really close to Ghost Rider. And then Ghost Rider gets, I think, his movement perplexed up by 1, and then he can charge the Justice League without having to use a power action. Without having to use his free action to move. And then he exploits weakness with a heavy. So that should do 6. And I don't know if you want to use the perplex. I don't even think you could use the perplex on the dam. No, you would have +1 damage from the belt if you don't. Double prep if you don't prep time. You could prep time to whatever. It really didn't matter. And then use the free movement to allow you to charge, which you can get up there. I still think not free action charging is the best option, because then you can always follow up and attack. So that's pretty cool. Moving on along, and sort of bear with me, I have to sort of go through this thread. I think here's the Champions team. Ghost Rider, full utility belt, and I guess he did use the Suit of Sorrows. the grapnel gun in handcuffs in the ATA, to Scarlet Witch and Scotty's Warbot. This, I feel, is going to tick people off a little bit just for the pure fact of you can't get two Scarlet Witches. Like, the accessibility of that character is ridiculously hard. For you then to say, hey man, I'm going to substitute that with Enchantress. That causes, some changes that you can make, but you're still in this rough zone. Yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel on it. So having the two Scarlet Witches gives you the final bit of whatever stat modification you need just so that you can go in there and KO whoever you need to KO. The biggest thing about this team is it's going to sit until your opponents move out. And your only hope really is that your opponent moves out enough for you to move up normally and then free action charge in. Or vice versa, however you want to do it. With the Heroes for Hire ATA. And I think that's sort of interesting. It would give you time to sort of get your Scarlet Witches a little bit into range, but you can't. The one thing to be clear is that Scotty Warbot is on its own. So you have it getting into position and then taking a shot and pushing the die, or getting into position, waiting, and then trying to take a shot. So because it doesn't have any TK on this team, Scotty's Warbot is not as a big of a threat as I initially thought it would be. But it's still, if you get too close, it's going to come out the gate and mess with you. Okay? So, that's an interesting team. Going on, I'm going to have Ignis Mouse team. He's a person that's been a friend of the show. Hobgoblin Prime, the ATA with the utility belt bunker. Scarlet Witch at 75 points, and GCPD Cycle. Pretty much this team allows you just to hide, make your wall, use the hand ATA to keep your Hobgoblin safe, and when whoever comes in, and they try to bust down those walls so that they can shoot Hobgoblin, they've used 2 attacks. And then, you can use the GCPD motorcycle to carry Hobgoblin Prime around to get him in position. And then once he clears from double power action or whatever else he's going to do, it's on like Donkey Kong. And then he's pulse waving and capping people for ridiculous. One Scarlet Witch makes this a little bit more accessible for some players. Also having TK makes the reach of Hobgoblin a bit better. I do know Ken had played that team, or played against that team, when Teen Titans came out, something similar to that. He played against her or played. So to see this actually come out and about on a high stakes game is very impressive. I would really, really, really take a hard look at that team. And I feel that it has a lot of strong mechanics that allows it to live. Not just live, but actually, just beat on some people real bad on a normal venue basis, and they're not looking for it. So that's my take on it. Here's another team. I don't think it was played, but this guy said, this is a team that I was thinking about, and I didn't play it. But he ended up being the guy that played the Ghost Rider and the Brother Voodoo and the Scarlet Witch. But what he said was, he was originally going to do Ghost Rider, Scarlet Witch at 50 points, Brother Voodoo, and Madam Web. Doctor Strange and then try to fit in Donald Blake if I could. So yeah, but overall, I think that team is interesting. I not the best team. Again, not a fan of Giant Man, but it's okay. All right. Now that my computer is done telling me that I have insufficient memory, here's one of the interesting teams I think that's came out of all of this was George Masu's team. He got 6th place, and he ran Beast Boy, the Pterodactyl Beast Boy, with a full belt, Alosha Craven, Gleek, 2 werewolves, flock of bats, and normal Beast Boy. So it actually gives you like 7 characters, and he also had the T-Rex, and so being able to move up and then transform into the Tyrannosaurus Rex to technically just do crazy damage, and to have Alosha Craven giving free actions is just, I mean, overall, just a very, very strong offensive team. Will a lot of people see it coming? Not really. I feel that this could be a good mold for trying to, add a bit more creativity into your games. Do I think it's the most efficient team that you can come up with? Not really. Definitely considering that, let's see, the Beast Boy, Outsiders, the Gleek, are all going to be retired. And filling in like Flock of Bats with the Gleek is a bad idea for replacement. So I feel that the Beast Boys that are in modern age don't really have the damage output as like the Bear and the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but oh well. I think that overall this is one of those teams that it's not obviously strong, but in the right hands it can be super deadly. So that's something that I do want y'all to keep just a mind out for, and more importantly, really resolve. You know what? Hey, I'm wrong, because I've said on the show, I don't think there was a way for you to get or match Map Roll with the Justice League. And George proved me wrong. And I don't mind being proved wrong. Alright. Here we go. Here's one. He says, Mike Hoggington says, team I was running before my NYDQ. The Fast Forces Superman. Okay. Scarlet Witch, Enchantress, Aim Renegade, utility belt with various objects. Not bad, a super one-man team, but not bad. I assume you had double barrier. So that's interesting. The one thing I do want to note for people is, to an extent, we're seeing a resurgence of turtling. And people are creating a lot of turtling teams, or making it so that, hey man, I could come get you, but I prefer you to try to knock down this wall. So I think that it's a good deal. I'm sorry. I think it's a good starting point of where the meta's at with this team: the Scarlet Witch, Enchantress, Aim Renegade, Fast Forces, Superman. Now, I will say this: that Superman, I'm not a fan of, but I can see why you're running it, just to get that defend, and then using the utility belt to come back and say, "Hey, man, guess what? Now I have willpower." So overall, not bad. One cat, he played a Justice League team base minus Wonder Woman and used the Justice League Silver Age TA, and then accuses George of cheating. And then it goes into a big diatribe into did George cheat or not cheat. or whatever else. When I think it's dumb. Um, I don't. I would say I know George. I don't think he's a guy that's going to be like, "Hey, I'm going to tell you a lie," but I don't think he's going to voluntarily say like, "Yeah, you know, you do have the ability to do that with this power," or sorry, you have the ability to do this other option. Did you think about that? And that's the thing. At a big tournament, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be like the guy that's just giving out all the information. You can just, resign to sit there and wait, and when they make their mistake, call them on it. Yeah, that's the best way I could say. Let's see here. Oh, that's last year's team. I was about to say, I was like, how'd you run Hawk Girl, 3 Hawk Girls from Brightest Day? But that's last year's team. Okay, and we're still going. You could tell, like I should have just copied and pasted everything. Yeah. There goes the champs team again. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Hold on, wait, here we go. Gizmo, GCPD Motorcycle, Astral Strange, Alyosha, Craven, Loki. I guess that's prize support Loki from Fear Itself with full utility belt, Leech, and Watcher. I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue how that works, and that's one that's just been bugging just bugging the stuff out of me, because it makes no sense. Like, okay, what are you copying that's going to help this team just deal with anything? I know the GCPD cycle is just mainly there to carry, probably give barrier. Leech causes problems for your power action, so where is Leech at? Watcher is going to carry Leech, sort of acting like Unspoken. I don't know where this is going. Okay, well, leave it at that. Another team, Justice League team, not Justice League team base. Big Barda, Wonder Woman, from the Justice League Fast Forces, Mind Warp, Bat Signal, and Justice League ATA. I think this is interesting because for you to boom tube up, smack a major target, Wonder Woman to follow up suit, is excellent. And then for you to say, Wonder Woman, you did your job, we killed the thing, I'm summoning Barda back for pretty much just trying to rally for the rest of the game. So I actually appreciate what this means for tech. Do I think that this is going to be the next, big meta push? I don't think so. But I do appreciate what this does for tech. Now, at the same time, getting +3 to map roll against the average team is only okay. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. Another guy just admitting he played the team base. And yeah, then Masu says what he played. So I think that's the most of it from the thread. A lot of this other stuff is just more of commentary, and just people saying like blah blah blah. I like this, blah blah blah. You're a cheat, blah blah blah. It's complete waste of time. Oh my gosh, I wish I did that, and then he probbed it, and then I did, and then this other thing happened. So if you want to check out the thread, I think that it overall it gives a lot of insight into nationals, and in all honesty, I feel that it actually shows us that people are trying to diversify thought. Oh wow, latecomers! I just kept clicking through. I found something. Dracula, 12-point utility belt, Madam Web, and Enchantress. He went 0-2 and then dropped from the tournament. But this is Vlad the Impaler. So, yeah. Then the team he meant to play was Watu Leech, 14-point utility belt, villains for hire, 4 members attached. But somehow he lost his Leech. So, yeah. Okay. So, anyway, that team is okay. I mean, I'm not going to crap on his team. But I probably would have gone with the villains for hire one too. But, you know, the guy lived up to his name. He played Dracula. Okay, so this little mini cast is brought to you by me, trying to make up content that sort of fell off. I'm not going to lie. Definitely check the previous show because I've recorded it but haven't done post-production on it. And at this moment in the future, that could change because you're going to see it. But definitely check out previous shows. More stuff is coming, and I need to go back looking for a job. So thanks for listening, and remember, we all have to start over sometime.
I'm into comic books, figures on the wall. She's into looking good, Vicky C's got along. And she loves my flaws, yeah, she's not ashamed. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. She's my Mary Jane, she's my Mary Jane. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane.
I'm a big nerd around her, but she's cool around me. Never knew how she found me. Electric, but she grounds me. And she loves my flaws, she accepts them all. When the darkness comes, I will get the call. I will swing down the city.